Hey there, all you lovely people on the interwebs who have an interest for miniatures. I'm Doc Yan, and I'm here to ramble about the latest and greatest of my painting exploits. Today is Monday, the 24th of May, 2021, and you're looking at the collection of finished stuff for the past week. Only 5 minis, but, you know, better than nothing. As I might have mentioned a few times, my goal, my ambition is 10 per week, but, you know, if you can't make 10, hey, 5 is not horrible. So we have 3 of the Stonehaven miniatures half-orcs in the front. In this case, I painted up the remaining female half-orcs. There are various kinds. We have this furred barbarian, we have the swashbuckler, and we have the mercenary with the crossbow. And then we have a couple of the sort of aquatic miniatures from different companies, I forget which ones. Here we have a sort of lizard person. And here we have a sea serpent. I did some water effects on their basis. Don't know if you can tell. It'll be more obvious perhaps in the still images. Yeah, and I'm reasonably pleased with how they turned out. I consider adding more color variants on this serpent. For example, the gills there are basically the same color as the scales. You know, could have varied that perhaps a little bit, but I didn't want to be too much of a riot of different colors. So, yeah, I think it's a reasonable compromise. Let's move on to the work table. So this is the current lineup of models on my table. Let's see, this for just 10 guys, or 10 models, I should say. And all of them have a little paint on them at least. The latest additions are these 2 guys from Mirror's Miniatures, who have had some primer and a dark brown undercoat, just like a simple wash to pick out the details. Now I screwed up one thing about this guy. It's the base. Now it turns out, I don't know if you can tell, there's like markings on these bases, on the rims. You might recognize these from, like, War Machine uses those, I think, as well. Apparently the game Darklands does. It's for marking facing, I believe. And he's facing backwards now, so they're supposed to be forwards. But, you know, I'm never going to play a miniatures game where that's important. This guy is correct. So I'm just going to paint that rim a simple black anyway, and not pick out the markings. And nobody's ever going to notice, because I'm not playing Darklands or War Machine or anything like that. Now these half-orcs seem almost finished. Maybe they're like 50% or so. The rest, I've just slapped some base coats on, just trying to get an idea of the color schemes. But some of these will be finished by next week. Probably not all, but some. Hello, Mr. Angel. So we've got on the table here the resin or partly resin miniatures from Heresy. And I think I've finished prepping them for priming. So this is the Angel, which came in 4 pieces. It's the body, the hands with the sword, and the 2 wings. Now, I actually glued these on without pinning because the connection points were very good. They were extremely well sculpted, for the wings I'm talking here. And they were very well aligned, and I was afraid whenever I pin something like arms or hands, whatever, there's always the risk of misaligning it and ruining it. So I decided to just go with what I had here. Let's hope this holds up. There's a bit of glue here. There. Anyway, so this is not this pin. This is the base. I'm painting these two separately because the real attachment point is going to be this clear flight stand, and I don't want to have this attached while I'm painting. So I'll finish everything. I will paint and varnish both the angel and the base first, and once that's complete and dry, then I will glue it together with this thing. That's the plan. Now, with the Minotaur, this is the only thing that's fully assembled and based. Though looking at it, I'm wondering if I should add some more bric-a-brac to the base, perhaps some skulls or something. You can never go wrong with skulls. Now that I think about it, yeah, I'm gonna add some skulls. Anyway, there were two options for the hands. We had the axes and the body parts. These are two halves of a knight that he's ripped apart. And I thought, well, you can't combine these. You can't have one half of a guy and one axe. That would look stupid. You need both halves of the guy. And this is much cooler than the axes. I mean, dual wielding axes, yeah, that's run of the mill. Seen that a million times. Two halves of a knight, that's something new. You don't see that every day in a model. So, yeah. And finally, we have the giant scorpion. Now, as you can tell, the legs and the claws are metal. The body is resin. A little finicky. See, the legs are jointed, and the joints are weak points. So when I was cutting them off the sprue, a couple of them actually broke off at the joints, and you can't see that now because I've disguised it so well with my super glue skills. Anyway, I haven't glued it to the base I've prepared because if you look at it, see, it's very close to the ground. If I glue this on before painting, there's going to be places I can't reach and paint, and it's not going to look right. So what I've done is I've drilled a hole in the bottom of the belly of the beast, and we're going to do it like this. There we go. So we have it on this cork, and I'm just going to paint it separately, base separately, glue it on. In this case, I'll probably glue it on before varnishing. But, you know. And it's not like the belly is really important, but I just want it to be a different color than the rock of the base, and yeah. I'm pretty much ready. I don't have time to prime them right now. I'll do that tomorrow or something. And but there's no rush because I still have other stuff to paint. And that's all the currently in the works projects. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to get realistic, and because my productivity has gone down a little bit, and the next week or two is still gonna be very busy at work for me. So I'm gonna add even fewer minis to the queue than I did last week. Last week I added 5. This week I'm gonna go for 3. I picked out some miniatures from Hassle-Free Miniatures. I found 2 dwarves I had lying around, and 1 just general fantasy figure. Let me take these out to show you. So here we have a model called Dria or Drya. I'm guessing it's supposed to be a druid. It's a female dwarf holding a spear, one-handed, but very far out. And she's holding something, it looks like a piece of carved rock, or a crystal of some sort. Yeah, probably a crystal, some sort of magic crystal, in her other hand. And she's got some sort of padded armor on, and just general adventuring gear. A long braid in their hair there. Pretty cool. This is a warrior type called Dun Arm Caden. And I think Caden is a name that Hasselhoff uses for a bunch of different female dwarves, so I think it's supposed to be the same person in different poses. And here she's wearing a scale shirt and a two-handed sword. Well, what's for a dwarf is a two-handed sword. I'd say it's a hand and a half sword and a two-handed grip. And charging forward. Oops. Like this. And this little vignette is simply called My Hero. So we have a big muscly barbarian with a totally fantasy, non-realistic axe. And he's got a groupie hanging on to his arm, and he is fondling her butt there. So let's hope that's consensual. You can barely make out her face. So, but, you know, these are minis that I'm going to paint because I want to paint them, because I feel that they're fun, and not simply because I want to get them out of my storage. So I'll definitely prep these for next week. That was the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you followed me this far along, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so before. Comment on the video about anything you found especially interesting. And of course, be back here again in a week from now. Same day of the week, same channel, same Dakayan. Who's now signing off.